The gloves come off as the declared Republican presidential hopefuls square off face-to-face for the first time. From America's election headquarters, the first GOP debate of this important political year. Join Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern starting just before 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday evening. Here South Jersey's talk station.
Hello, I'm Mark Taylor, owner and pharmacist at Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. I want to thank all of our loyal customers. There's change, so I would like to announce our brand new name, Curexa. But don't worry, our ownership hasn't changed and you'll still get the same great customer service you are accustomed to. Curexa is still PCAB accredited. Just for you.
Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy, is a full-service prescriptions that are hypoallergenic, alcohol-free, and gluten-free. Does your pet take medications? Curexa also formulates medications formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy at 3007 Ocean Heights Avenue, Egg Harbor Township. 609-927-0390 or visit Curexa.com. That's Curexa.com.
Pharmacy, compounding medication solutions from juniors to seniors to pets. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Here's Harry.
We appreciate the fact that he makes a priority out of doing this, but knowing him for 3 decades or so, I'm not surprised. Your phone calls are coming up next at 609-407-1450, and we're going to say good evening to Ann.
Since the House has the power of the purse, what would the House's power? What can it do to stop Obama from cutting the military and assets related to secret?
And the Senate failed to get to proceed with whether or not to Planned Parenthood. So, although I don't think you asked a question, I'll answer that I am definitely opposed to these horrific practices that we're seeing, that I will vote. I believe the House of Representatives will have a vote as well. Maybe that can motivate the Senate to defund Planned Parenthood, which I will support. But let me also add that I think and hope the House will take the position try to take, and that is use the money that would not be going to Planned Parenthood to legitimate organizations that are truly interested in women's health, things like that. So, to the heart of your question,
could I jump in before you go to that? And Ann, that's why we kept your mic on, just in case you want to do a follow-up, and then we're going to go to Keith, who is standing by. Am I correct when I say we don't even need the Senate? And in all fairness, it was 53 votes to defund Planned Parenthood and to spend every dollar, but to spend it in clinics that aren't selling human baby body parts, to give it to hospitals. And so it was to keep the money to take care of a woman's right, but just not to fund this particular outfit that has been on video captured with doing just horrific, gruesome things. Couldn't the House of Representatives, where by the Constitution, the whole setup says all spending measures originate in the House, can't the House defund Planned Parenthood?
Sure. Now, here's you don't need the Senate. You need the Senate because the appropriation bills, where the money is an appropriation.
Okay.
So the House originates all spending measures. They still must go to the Senate, and in order to get to, let's say the Senate has an amendment and they agree with the House, and we set a flag and we stick it hard in the ground.
want you to shut it down.
That's the trap, and that's the frustration. Upset. 3 people who vote fighting this. We're trying to do everything. Power is
whatever these numbers.
Examples, because I think this gives people a much clearer the president's decimating the military, decimating readiness. Here's the level the president has brought to. We have Marines that are trained for rapid deployment in cases of extreme urgency, where they are ready to go as we speak and are just to be deployed wherever it is on the world. We are taking, the order has been given. We will not be able to deploy Marines on U.S. vessels. They're going to be deployed on foreign vessels. We are now being so-called allies with vessel capability. We will put United States Marines to go on rapid deployment into harm's way on U.S. vessels. That's how bad this has all gotten. And we are so frustrated. The armed services the number of ships has dropped to an unconscionable low, and the president, I think our military leadership is beside themselves, but in the democracy we have, they won't speak up, or they're not lots of the commander-in-chief.
We know he's doing it. And give me 1 second, then you take it back. We know he's doing it. Is there any way that we can ascertain why he's doing it? Is he purposefully making America weaker? I mean, isn't that a horrific thing to say?
It is. And what I've read some documents that have come out from some folks who are very close to him, and I think the president believed that a lot of the problems in the world were because the United States was so far superior to other countries, and if in fact we were on an equal footing, and we did not have an advantage militarily,
fair.
that everybody can love us, and that's ridiculous.
Sick. And a quick follow up, then we got to again.
Okay, will this vote again on Planned Parenthood?
The House has not voted on defunding Planned Parenthood. In September, or close to it, I think we will be demanding a vote on defunding Planned Parenthood. I can't imagine the House will not, but we're not in session until after Labor Day now. So the Senate attempted to vote, but their rules are to have C, you cannot proceed. So they didn't even get to the substance of the bill.
Yep. Thank you, Ann. Thanks for checking in. And Keith, give us a call back. I promise we'll get you right back on. 30 minutes past the hour. The Iranian deal, what is your prediction in terms of, obviously, there's a majority in the House, Senate, and the House of Representatives that will vote against it. Do you think the Congress would actually override the president's veto?
It will be difficult. It's 2/3. These days are critical.
Will it happen? Will you do it in the House?
I believe so.
Is the key thing Chuck Schumer?
The key is Chuck Schumer in two ways. Now, Schumer, who is the incoming leader after Harry Reid of a very powerful position, can try to play the political game of saying, I'm going to oppose the deal, and then quietly he can go to Democratic colleagues and say, hey, you've got more leeway than I do. You go ahead and vote with the president. That's a disaster. That would be a Chuck Schumer, type move. That's the kind of stuff he does. However, if Chuck Schumer can be convinced it's really a bad deal, and not only does he say he's opposing it, but he works against it, it will be very difficult for senators who will need a Chuck Schumer to be on their side for all the support and things that he can do to turn him down. Easy. Dick Durbin is easy. We already know Barbara Boxer has made the flip here, and she's drank the Kool-Aid. But there are a number of key senators.
Dianne Feinstein has.
Dianne Feinstein has not.
Credit, because she has served on the committee. She knows better.
She knows. She really does know better. I'm disappointed that the ranking member on the House Intelligence Committee from California, he's a quality individual. He's a thoughtful individual. We sat through together last week. I don't know how many hours of classified briefings, and I just can't imagine he can come up with a different point of view than me on this.
Which means he has to be voting for politics.
Well,
which is really shameful. Something like this.
There's so much at stake here.
And to show how nonpartisan I'm not even bipartisan you can be. You've been complimentary of Senator Menendez, House Minority Leader, I think he is, or has a high-ranking position, Steve. You've been complimentary about these guys.
They are core Democrats. Philosophically, don't agree on much, but Senator Menendez, we don't know for sure. There is a chance, I don't know this, but there is a chance he's in trouble. He is because of his position on this Iran deal and the Cuban deal. Steve Israel, was he chairman of the Democratic Campaign Congressional Committee. I mean, he is hardcore. His job is to cut the Republicans out and have Democrats be in control and Nancy Pelosi speaker. He's bucking Nancy Pelosi on this. So yes, there are some real people who understand the importance.
But it's going to be very tough to override a presidential.
It's going to be tough. The political power of the presidency is in full view, will be in full view with what the president is doing to individual members of the Senate, probably more than the House, but of all those who may oppose him. And then the one that you go to, you're compared to Radical Mullah if you don't agree with it.
About this, even if because the president brought it to the UN for bringing it to the United States Congress, which I want to remind everybody, and certainly Congressman LoBiondo knows this, the president promised to bring it to the United States Congress first because that's what he's supposed to do. And he double-crossed his own country and his equal branches of government. It's just black. So even if you guys all vote it down, and you will initially, and if you have enough votes to override what is already a promised presidential veto, the rest of the world, it's over. The horse is out of the barn. The sanctions are off. The money's going to be flowing. The other nations are going to not go along. This is terrible.
It's a calculated political move for the president to gain an advantage that is very wrong. However, it was pointed out to me by someone from another country that the sanctions are so critical from the United States that even if they're lifted by the UN, the United States sanctions, if they stay in place, can still have a severe and dramatic effect on the Iranian economy. So we should not give up hope and think that if the rest of the world gives up their sanctions, that automatically we should give up ours, because ours are written in such a way that countries who do business with Iran in violation of sanctions for consequence with us.
We're still the big dog. That matters.
Yeah, we're wimping out a little bit, though.
Could the next president overturn this after it would be in effect for an extended period of time? Because we have until minimum of January 20th of 2 years from now, but it's not full 2 years, but 2017. Could the new president repeal this and the Congress repeal it? And would that matter at that point?
Good question.
Because they'll have to.
Good, very good question. I don't know that anybody knows the answer to that, but I do know the answer to this. Anything that is done by any president by executive order can be overturned on day one by the president by an executive order. So this, by all rights and by every scholar that's looked at it, should have been a treaty, which should have been a full, just up or down vote by Congress, not some 2/3 that has to overcome a veto and all this stuff. it had been done according to the Constitution, would have been just a straight up. Now, is this considered an executive order? The president is handling this in an executive fashion. There'll be an argument about it. It's an argument that should take place. And I don't know in 2 years how far it goes. I don't know if in 2 years it completely falls apart. Says the Iranians want to fail so they can look like the good guys to the world, blame the United States for not living up to its agreement, tell the world that they were ready to be good neighbors and do the right thing, and since the United States is the one who messed everything up, they now have the right to proceed and do what they want to do.
We want to go to your calls now. Carl is first, who we back is going to go second, and Eric is going to third in rotation. Carl, it's time to ask. Go.
Congressman, I read that they're going to cut the Army by 19,000 troops, and it's going to devastate Fort Drum. And with the associated people working with them and all, it'll be the end of 1/3 of the population of that county up there. Did they do something to make Obama mad? Because I think back in the Clinton area, he closed bases. I guess they voted Republican. I don't know.
Well, the bases that were closed prior were done under what's called BRAC. That was a base closure commission that made recommendations that Congress had agreed at the time would be a straight up or down vote, so individual members could not get into. There is absolutely no sentiment, no stomach for the BRAC to take place. So the president is doing this the way he does other things. He can see to it that any particular base he wants closed is so dramatically affected that he's not technically closing it, but they have no activity.
It's like Guantanamo, if he released all the prisoners, to close the facility. And Carl, it's not 19,000 total; it's 40,000 troops.
And it brings us to lower than World War II, prior World War II totals.
Can you imagine? We're in the most unsafe world ever, and we are going to levels. The congressman just said. Carl, thanks for the call. Let's say good evening to Keith. Keith, it's Ask the Congressman. Go right ahead.
Hello, Congressman. I'm looking at the Iranian deal. It looks like we got absolutely nothing. Iran got everything.
Yes.
We acquiesced every single possible point. Do you believe that this deal is born out of the president's sense of fairness? Somehow, since Israel has nuclear weapons and he leaked that to the press, the United States has nuclear weapons, that it's only fair that the Iranians have that opportunity, that he supports proliferation?
It's only a very subjective opinion here, but because the president has believed that the might of the United States has caused trouble in past years with people, quotes, not liking us, that could be a part of it. But I think I am coming to the belief, because the president has given in on so many points that are so critical, that he is determined that he has no legacy when he leaves office. So Obamacare is in shambles, even though the Supreme Court has upheld it. It's a bigger failure every day, and the worst parts of Obamacare don't until after this president leaves office. The president needs something when he leaves, so he's not the least regarded, low-polling president in the history of the republic to say that, hey, I brought the Iranians to the table and doing all things. It's very, very false legacy because I don't think it's going to fall apart. And who knows what this president is saying? You only have to look at people he's surrounding himself with, and the people he's surrounding himself with, if you don't completely agree with his philosophy of how to do business, you're gone. They're not experts in anything. The military is allowed to pick the bombing targets. The military, he's trying to convince us that the military has developed a plan to go after ISIS more than a year that he's asked for it. The military has plans to go after ISIS 5 years ago. So what he's doing on this Iranian deal, we can only expect is from a very warped sense of whatever he believes his legacy should be.
And I'm just going to say, Keith, you're absolutely right. And you've raised something a lot of people don't have a recollection about, and that is this is the first president to ever reveal that Israel is nuclear. It's a bad kept secret but it has never been stated definitively, correct, Congressman?
Correct.
So this was another thing, and I totally agree with Keith. And I'm talking about you like you're not Keith. I totally agree with you that I really think a big part of his mode of operation is, as the Congressman said earlier in his show, and come up now during your narrative, he wants it to be even. That's why the Russian generals are going to be invited to see all of our secrets, and we were going to go down to such a low level because, after all, it's not fair. If we're, American exceptionalism isn't fair. Keith, you're awesome. Eric, you're going to be next right after a brief time. It is Congressman Frank LoBiondo with Harry Hurley. It is Ask the Congressman on the station, the place is WPG. Talk Radio 1450, South Jersey's talk station. We have an open phone line at 609-407-1550 next.
August 6th, the gloves come off as the declared Republican presidential square off face-to-face for the first time. From America's election headquarters, the first GOP debate of this important political year. Fox News Radio's Jared Halpern, starting just before 9 p.m. Eastern on Thursday evening. Hear it live right here on WPG Talk Radio 1450 and WPG1450.com. South Jersey's talk station.
Hello, I'm Mark Taylor, owner and pharmacist at Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. I want to thank all of our loyal customers that have placed their trust in us as a full-service compounding and specialty pharmacy. But when there's growth, there's change. So I'd like to announce our brand new name, Curexa. But don't worry, our ownership hasn't changed and you'll still get the same great customer service you are accustomed to. Curexa is still PCAB accredited and you'll still be dealing with our same experts in customizing quality medications just for you.
Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy, is a full-service compounding and specialty pharmacy. Curexa specializes in formulating prescriptions that are hypoallergenic, alcohol-free, and gluten-free. Does your pet take medications? Curexa also formulates medications for your pet. And they have over 35 flavors to choose from to make your medication taste great. For compounding medications from juniors to seniors to pets, visit Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Pharmacy at 3007 Ocean Heights Avenue, Egg Harbor Township. Call 609-927-0390 or visit Curexa.com. That's Curexa.com.
WPG Talk Radio 1450 presents Ask the Congressman. Brought to you by Curexa, formerly Jersey Shore Compounding Pharmacy. Compounding medication solutions from juniors to seniors to pets. It's your opportunity to talk directly to Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Call 407-1450. Now, with Congressman Frank LoBiondo, here's Harry Hurley.
And you've done it again, ladies and gentlemen. You are blowing up the phone lines, and that's a very good thing. Everybody that's on hold, you're all going to get on, so don't go away. It's 44 minutes past the hour. The Congressman is going to be here until 5 minutes past the top of the next hour, and then we'll go right into Mark Levin. Imagine what he's going to be saying about the debate that will be coming up in just a little bit. And it'll be all covered here live, the entire presidential debate, and a little bit of the pregame show as well, right here on WPG Talk Radio 1450. Eric, say hello to your congressman.
Hello, Frank.
Hi, Eric.
God bless you and God bless the work that you do.
Thank you.
Frank, do you think it's time that the Speaker of the House, the head of the Senate, and the Republican leaders and possibly some Democrat senators and congressmen get together, call a national primetime news conference and just look Obama right in the eye and said, President Obama, you took an oath in front of the nation to uphold the Constitution, to defend and protect. This deal that you're proposing, the ramifications it'll have on the United States, the Middle East, with the proliferation of nuclear weapons in the Middle East, bringing about the possibility of a nuclear conflict, and the world ramifications. Sir, you are now standing in the shadow of Benedict Arnold, and we need immediate change.
Are you calling for impeachment?
There wouldn't be time for impeachment.
No, it wouldn't work. That's what the president wants. And, and in essence, Eric, the majority leader in the Senate and the Speaker of the House have press conferences condemning this deal, pointing out all the things that you're saying. This president doesn't care. What he does is attack either the leadership of the House and the Senate, Republicans or Democrats, as being radical mullahs out of Iran, because he is determined he is going to get this. And he's not swayed. He believes the American people are behind him. He believes the world's behind him. He's either delusional in believing it, or he's got some polling that the rest of us don't have. So what you're calling for has already been done.
Well, I refer to him from this day forward as predict Obama.
Eric,
Okay.
Thank you for the call.
You're welcome.
Have a great night. Thanks for listening to Ask the Congressman. We're at 47 minutes past the hour, an open phone line at 609-447-1450. We're going to have Christopher in just a moment. Dave is going to follow, then Archie. Because this issue is so important, the Katz Jewish Community Center in Margate is having a very important panel discussion on Iran. Monday, August 24th. Congressman, you will be participating on the panel.
Yes. The Jewish Federation of Atlantic and Cape May counties has decided that there is such an overwhelming interest and desire to learn more. I guess I do not know the other panel members, but I have cleared my schedule to be there on the panel, to be able to give my point of view as a member of the House of Representatives and a member of the House Intelligence Committee about how devastating and how bad this decision is. They are open. They are welcoming everyone. It is open to the public. They are expecting large crowd, and I would encourage anyone who wants to participate with what I think will be an outstanding event to mark it on your calendar.
You're listening to United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo from our 2nd Congressional District, our representative for most of us that are listening, and we're taking your phone calls for Ask the Congressman on WPG Talk Radio 1450 at 48 minutes past the hour. Let's say good evening to Christopher. Christopher, Ask the Congressman, please.
Good evening, Congressman. I had a few questions. I wanted to bring it back local. First question is the situation report on the 2016 FAA air traffic control hiring process. Is any changes going to be implemented from the 2014-2015 years? And is Atlantic Cape Community College in the running to be CTI certified for their air traffic controller program? I'm an aspiring air traffic controller myself, a veteran using this GI Bill, currently going to Atlantic Cape Community College.
Well, first, thank you for your service. Great question. The that the FAA has caused with this whole situation is in the hands of the Inspector General. In light of the outstanding investigative reporting by Fox Business News, where they were able to uncover the situation with the cheating scandal and just how inappropriate this whole thing is unfolded, we are hoping to get some feedback from the Inspector General. I have said publicly and continue to say I want to see changes made and or forced onto the FAA. And Atlantic Cape Community College and Dr. Murrah, who has invested so much time and energy and money in this, although the FAA says they are not retaining, shall we say, any new entries into this, I believe that they will have to. I believe the shortage of air traffic controllers will take this, and I believe that they are still in the running and will continue to be if I have anything to do about it.
I appreciate that very much, sir. And yes, Fox's report was very inspiring. But appreciate it, and that's all my questions. Thank you.
Christopher, thank you for your service. Have a great night.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
You got it, sir. Take care. 609-407-1450 phone lines are open for United States Congressman Frank LoBiondo. Let's say good evening to Dave. Dave, it's time to ask the Congressman.
Yes, hi. I wanted to know if the Congressman would be willing to maybe put a little pressure, defund, or something on the HUD, Housing Urban Development, and their new rules of desegregation by, apparently they plan on taking over zoning rules in cities and surrounding suburban areas and pretty much placing people wherever they feel they want to put them.
Yeah, I don't think, Dave, I don't think it's anything short of social engineering in a free society. This plan is, to me, it's abominable, Congressman.
It is, and it ranks right up there with what other agencies of the administration are doing, in essence, by their own executive orders. EPA is a great example of this. Department of Commerce is a great example of this. Federal Communications Commission is a great example of this. And now HUD is another example. So in order for the Congress to be able to force any of these agencies to rescind what they have put into motion, would take the House and the Senate passing it and the President signing it. And we all know the President will not sign anything.
There's no funding, no way of using the power of the purse.
Well,
maybe
it's
in the checkbook to stop paying them. Just stop paying them. Can you do
Eric.
that?
It's the same. It's the same answer that we had with the previous caller. That as much as I would like to say yes, that the purse means that the appropriation bills originate in the House of Representatives, they must be passed by the Senate. And if we were to include an appropriation bill that does everything you want it to do, and the President vetoes it, the alternative is to shut the government down. And that's exactly what the President wants. That's exactly what the President got 2 years ago when we thought that we had the right position on Obamacare and defunding it, and challenged the President to shut the government down. It didn't defund Obamacare. It was a debacle for 17 days that the President was on his heels at that point, if you remember. He was literally on his heels. This gave him new energy in life, allowed him time to dust himself off, pick himself up off the mat. And the same thing would happen with any of these issues, because the power of the purse doesn't mean we can unilaterally stop it. It means we can include it to be put on the President's desk. But if he does not agree, he vetoes it. We don't have the ability to override a veto.
So you guys are powerless then. Basically, the Congress has become powerless, and the executive branch has basically taken over our country.
In many respects,
can't do anything about it.
Dave, isn't that a sobering assessment? And Congress, you almost can't deny that, can you?
It's not how it's supposed to be. I mean, here I am. I put my mortgage, 30-year mortgage. I'm putting my head in the dumpster to pay it off, and somebody's going to move a family of 10, and my property value is going to drop, and I'm going to be underwater.
It's wrong. I agree. I totally agree with you. It's wrong. The President has so severely abused executive power. No one ever thought it could get to this stage, unless the Attorney General were to join in a challenge to say that it's unconstitutional. Until this guy leaves office, there are a lot of alternatives.
Oh, that's a shame.
Dave, I thank you for the call. I feel your pain. I know what you're saying. 54 minutes past the hour, an open phone line, 609-407-1450. Good evening to Archie. Archie, welcome to Ask the Congressman. You're on the air.
Yeah, thank you for doing a double.
Thank you.
Or a triple.
Yeah, that's true. Thanks for noticing.
We're watching Donald Trump gain traction, probably because the people in general are so disenfranchised from their government in their minds. And I guess I'm going to ask one question, which is kind of telling. When Nancy Pelosi says we're going to pass the bill and then we're going to see what's in it, can't you guys go crazy, scream? I mean, how could anybody ever stay in business in any other normal walk of life making a statement like that? And I'd like to get your response to that.
She's a hero in San Francisco. She is still the leader of the Democratic Party, and still believes that she can be speaker again with a misstep by the Republicans, doing something that will turn the country against them. She rules by an iron fist. She prides herself in everything she says. She never retracts anything. And in San Francisco, they do everything short of building her a chair and carrying her around.
So she can take these radical positions.
Popular. I understand her constituency, but how can the rest of the people in Congress listen to a statement like, we're going to pass and then we're going to look at it, and not think that the American public wouldn't be flabbergasted by it?
Well, she was speaker when she said that statement. Any member...
But she's got people that are responsible to answer to her, doesn't she?
Well, remember, in all fairness, Archie, people went crazy. Built tabernacles around that statement, and a whole campaign was waged. And unfortunately, under that goofy demon pass, because when Scott Brown took over for late Ted Kennedy, they didn't have votes to really do it the right way. They did something that's ever been done before, Congressman. They, hey, the last vote counts. We'll consider it deemed and passed. And they had the Archie in the House. It was monolithic. It was just completely political, monolithic. We need to vote now. You can see what's in it. And these crazies got away with it.
I just think that's part of the issue where a guy like Trump gets us, because I mean, any human being that would listen to that and say that these guys are, and any of them are voting for it, it's like beyond comprehension to the average citizen. And I'll leave it at that. But thank you so much.
Thanks, Archie. Well, what's the magic number, Congressman? Is it 219? I mean, you need the majority, and if you've got the majority, the philosophy behind the decision, rationale, can be crazy. Yes, they had the votes.
218 is the magic
218. Number. Right, exactly. Because we got 435, 218. So, Archie, that's what happened. But in fairness, it's not like the election remained silent. You
there
guys,
was a big sound off.
Yeah, big time, without doubt. Congress, we've about 9 minutes, 8-9 minutes in your program, and I think this issue of the hacking, cyber hacking that's taking place in China, other things, this is very. I mean, all the tens of millions of Americans that were compromised, major corporations, billions and multi-billions worth of dollars, at stake. Serious business. This is the next sort of wave of terrorism.
It's not. It is the way. Right.
It is the way.
It has hit us. It has hit us hard. Most of which the bulk of America has no idea about. They have an incredible technical capability to hack into any host of our public or private systems. The Office of Personnel Management hack, the administration still is admitting the extent to which this took place. And the current director of the FBI, his files part of this, as were all his confidential background report.
So they know exactly what they're going after. This isn't some random, hey, we got 28 million Americans. They went after the government employees and the people they wanted.
Anybody who went after a clearance, a classified clearance.
That's who they went after.
The whole record is in there. So you got an incredible amount of damaging information from our point of view. And the administration is making like this matter. The Office of Personnel Management was offered help way prior to this happening, and basically said, "Nah, we got this." Disclose some of the particulars of it, but the House of Representatives has attempted to pass. The Senate has announced he would veto it, all because he believed that somehow the left-wing groups of ACLU, some of these privacy groups, would try to equate this as personal privacy. It is so bad that we may have the capability of determining if a hacking attack, a cyber attack, was going to take place or has started to take place on an American business, cannot notify them because the law does not allow us to. And what we were attempting to do would be on a voluntary basis, allow our defense contractors and our companies to be enter in partnership only if it's voluntary, be able to say we want to use the power of the National Security Agency, their technical capability, to help protect us in the country.
How serious does this make the fact that we know that our enemies have been very successful? We'll call that, to China and everything else. Russia is also spying on us and even allies spying on us. But with all the success we know they're having in hacking us, doesn't it raise the stakes for what Hillary Clinton did knowingly as the Secretary of State, the top diplomat in America, to run her own little pop shop in the basement of Chappaqua? I mean, don't you find it just incomprehensible?
It is incomprehensible.
What a threat to our country.
I'm watching very closely because now
I think she's going to be indicted.
Well, now the FBI is doing an investigation, and the Clinton campaign is saying, well, this is not a criminal investigation.
Yeah, well, today a federal source
said
it is.
Let me tell you what, the FBI only does criminal investigations. Yeah. They don't do comic investigations.
Right. Their point was that the server is being investigated, like a computer is being investigated. She's being investigated.
Here's what worries me. Under normal circumstances, with the kind of attack that's taken place, and the fact that we know where it came from and who did it, and we're not retaliating, tells me that our administration, our president and his people probably believe they have a much bigger capability than what they're letting on to about what they can do if we were to retaliate. We're really to be able to become cyber warfare out in the open. So this is a huge deal. The Chinese has a whole branch of the Chinese Red Army. They pick these kids out for aptitude when they're very, very young. They send them to special schools. They recruit them, make them all the best. And these soldiers, part of the Chinese Army, they don't fight with guns and they're not trained in warfare. They're trained in cyber. And they're very, very good at what they do.
Congressman, the Senate is debating a bill. I know that you, with duties on the House Intelligence Committee, also as chairman of the House Aviation Subcommittee, you're looking into this. Can you guys come up with something that can put a halt to this? Well,
we think we can make a major dent in it, and we have. We can't get a commitment from the administration, and I believe it was, I was so frustrated by these executive orders and the power of the presidency, and that we're powerless to get something done. If the president were to veto it, we can't override his veto.
Here's what happens over time. Usually when a president takes more power, the next president keeps that, doesn't go back and say, hey, that was wrong. They keep it, and they do more. This has been, I think, the furthest reach of any president in the history of the Republic to actually try the Congress on the sideline. I've been amazed at how willing the Democrats in Congress have been to have their authority usurped like this. It's never been like that.
It's never been like that. And privately, they will really sound off about all of this, because it's not like the president even making an attempt to do it the constitutional way, to bring an idea to Congress, have Congress debate it and vote on it and pass it, and then get what he wants done. He does not have any confidence in even the Democrats being able to advance his agenda, so he has completely abandoned the legislative process and completely gone to executive orders on some of the really important topics and hottest items we've got. You know, evidenced by the Iran deal, which should have been a treaty, and he's making it executive privilege.
So dangerous. Should the next president of the United States repeal it?
Well, you know, I don't know that I can answer that question right now. What's the state of affairs when the next president takes office in 2 years?
Yeah, and who is the president?
And who is that president?
I mean, what Hillary, she's already said she's supporting all.
And what are they advocating? So, I mean, if you were to undo this in 2 years, was it by some miracle working and all of us are wrong? Or was it worse than anticipated? And, you know, the Iranians...
To repeal it, there'd have to be evidence that it's already a problem and that it would need to be overturned.
I think so.
Because if it's seemingly working, but we don't even have a police verification, they're testing the soil. Can you imagine saying, hey, here's the soil sample, just take it here, guys? They're doing, I mean, they're the firemen and the arson and the police officer. They've got every angle covered.
They do.
Closing comments. We've got about a little over a minute.
No, thanks, Harry, for being so involved in important topics. I am attempting to do everything possible to stay up on all fronts and understand all ramifications, and doing my best to represent the views of the good people of the 2nd Congressional District.
And Congressman, we touched on it very, very briefly early, but we saved it for the end of the program because that's something that you address, particularly as chairman of, you know, the Maritime Subcommittee, 225th birthday week. 225th
birthday, one of the most underrecognized, underappreciated branches that we have in our government, incredible people. And here in the 2nd Congressional District, we are blessed to have the only Coast Guard recruit training center in the nation, largest helicopter air station that is providing the Capitol Patrol mission. So big kudos and thank yous to the Coast Guard.
Congressman, thank you. What a wide range of debate. We want to thank all of our callers, Ann and Keith and Carl and Eric and Christopher and Dave and Artie. If I'm leaving anybody out, the great emails that you send in to us as well. We get everything that we were going to be doing. I do want to let everybody know that we're all going to be having the debate coverage tonight. Mark.
Sunday mornings at 9. Atlantic City at WPG1450.com.